Hey guys, it's Happy Conscious Gal here. It's been ages since I've done a vlog right here from my house. I just want to say hello to everybody. I've got big news, which is why I'm doing a vlog, which is that I have decided to do my final completion round. I'm not calling it a vanity round because I don't think it has anything to do with vanity. I'm calling it my completion round because I'm feeling ready to liberate these last pounds, kilograms that are on my body. And it feels like the right time to do it. I actually wasn't sure if I was even going to bother doing it. I don't even know how much is left on me. It might be 10 pounds, it might be 15 pounds, it might be less. And I really wasn't planning to do it. I don't really make plans anymore with my life. I just feel each day how I'm feeling, and I trust my gut, and I trust my intuition, and I trust that my path will unfold as it's meant to if I just listen to myself. And it's interesting because a few weeks ago I just started to get the feeling like, I feel like I'm ready to liberate the rest of this fat now. It was like, you know, I took a big step from where I was at to lose, 33 pounds or whatever I did, liberate 33 pounds at 15 kilograms a few months ago, and then I wanted to stay there for long enough that I felt really stable there, not just in terms of the weight on the scales, but in terms of my being. And I knew that a time would come where it would be clear to me if my body was going to shed the rest of the fat by itself through food and exercise, or just naturally, or if I was going to be happy to stay where I was at, because I might have been, or if the time would come where I'd wake up one day and feel like doing the last bit with HCG. So I'm calling it my completion round, as I feel that for me it feels right to complete this process now. And really, there's so many reasons why it feels right for me to do this. The first one is kind of interesting. By the way, just before I get into it, I am wearing a t-shirt. It is still the middle of winter here. It is freezing, but I actually just had a boiling hot spa for over an hour. We have a spa outside. I haven't gone out the whole winter because I just couldn't face walking back all wet and cold in the middle of winter. But this morning, my body was really sore, and I thought, oh, hot water will be so good. And it really was. I feel much better, and I'm still boiling hot, so that's why I'm wearing a t-shirt even though it's freezing here. Anyway, so the reason that I feel really ready to do this now is when I finished round one, I felt so thin. Like at the end, every time I looked in the mirror, I got a shock. I was like, who is that person? She's so thin. Oh my God. And I was like so svelte and so sleek, and I kept, trying on clothes, and I felt like I was in this new body, and it felt very new. I mean, I hadn't been this size since I was in my 20s, 15 years earlier, since my early 20s. And even though I had been this weight before, I'd never really been quite this shape, because obviously your body reshapes itself a bit on HCG. I'd never really had small shoulders before. I'd never been able to fit into an Australian size 10 jacket before. So even though I'd been this weight, I'd never looked like this. And so I was sort of really getting used to it. And everyone I was running into was saying, wow, you look amazing, what's happened? And then a really funny thing happened. After a bit of time, even though I would run into people I hadn't seen for a long time, no one was commenting that I'd lost weight. I said to Ellen, it's really weird. Like, why are these people who I haven't seen for a year not noticing I've lost so much weight? And I suddenly realized why. They weren't noticing it because I was no longer noticing it. My energy field wasn't carrying this sort of newness and this excitement anymore. I was just feeling like, this is me, this is how I look, this is my body. And other people were just saying, this is you, this is how you look, this is your body. And even though they hadn't seen me since I'd lost the weight, they didn't really notice it. And I realized that I was no longer noticing it. I'd look in the mirror and I wouldn't even notice it. It's like the old fat that had been on me was just not me. It was gone. And what was underneath was me. And once I finally accepted that, this is who I am, this is how I look, it was like I've never had that fat on me. It just doesn't exist anymore in my energy field. It's not in my reality. It's gone. And it's funny. So for the last couple of months, I've just been like, oh, this is how I look, whatever. I'm not fat, I'm not thin, and I don't look amazingly thin. I'm just normal. And then one day I woke up, and it really took me by surprise, and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I don't really feel comfortable with these blobby bits on my tummy and these blobby bits on my arm, and I don't think that's really me. That's old fat. I'm ready to shed that. And that took me by surprise, because a few months ago, I just thought I looked so thin. I didn't even see those bits. I didn't even notice them. I was so ecstatic that I'd lost so much weight. And that's what showed me that I was ready to shed the last bit of fat, because it's starting to come into my awareness. I'm starting to notice it when I try and put on clothes. I think, oh, I want to hide that little beard, you know. And I no longer feel thin, but I also no longer feel like this is me. I feel like I'm under there and I want to shed that last little bit. And it's not in an unhealthy, self-loathing way. It's in a very self-loving way. I mean, I know I look great at the moment. It's not because I think I look bad. It's just, I know there's someone under there and I'm just curious to see her. I've never seen her. And what excites me about doing a final round and shedding the last 10 pounds, the last 15 pounds, it might even be 20 pounds on me. I really have no idea. It might only be 6. I have no idea. What's exciting to me about doing it is that the HCG will tell me how much fat is left. The HCG will tell me what my actual real size is under all the habits and the conditioning of eating and the chronic pain and all the behavioural stuff and all the childhood traumas that we all have and all the reasons why we stack on the weight in the first place as a protective device. I'm curious to see what I look like under that, what my actual natural shape is under all of that. And I don't know what it is. I've never seen it. I've been overweight since I was 7 or 8. Maybe 9, but very young. And, you know, obviously my childhood body was nothing like my adult shape, so I don't know what my adult shape looks like. And what's wonderful about HCG, I'm sure you all know this because you've done the research and you've read Dr. Simeon's book, is that when you're on HCG, you cannot liberate normal fat. It doesn't touch the normal fat. You don't end up gaunt. You don't end up with skinny legs. It only sheds the abnormal fat. So I'm going to get to see by doing this final round which fat on my body is normal fat and which fat is abnormal fat. And I'm going to see what my actual shape is and what my actual size is. And I really don't know what it is. I mean, the clinic I went to when I started my first round, I did the whole first round, which was a very long round, through a clinic here in Australia. And as you all know, they were measuring me and doing tests and blood tests and muscle tests and blah, 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 to check I was really healthy. And I was really healthy, so it's given me confidence. The second time I'm doing it now, I'm not going through the clinic. I've just ordered HCG online myself because the clinic is so expensive. I mean, it literally cost me 10 times the amount last time than it's going to cost me this time. But I'm glad I did it that way because I really needed the reassurance that it was healthy. That was more important to me than the money, even though I'm now broke, but that's okay. So this time around I'm doing it by myself, which is exciting. Means I'm going to have to mix it all and make it all and all the stuff that you all do, which is kind of scary but kind of fun, so I'll make some videos about that. I'm going to have to play with dosages and all that stuff, but you know, I trust myself, so it will be fine. So when I went to that clinic last time, they measured my height and measured my frame, measured my wrists, measured my elbows, my frame size, and then they calculate your ideal weight. And, I mean, they told me I had a small frame, which I just thought was hilarious because, as I've told you before, I spent my whole life thinking I was this humongous, massive Amazon. I'm 5'9", I've got broad shoulders. All the other people I know, my mother, my sister, all my family, my aunties, all my friends growing up were all tiny. So I always thought I was this huge person. And when I found out I had a small frame, I was like, this does not compute. You know, I was like, It took months for that to even sink in, let alone the weight loss. And so now that I've got a small frame, it's quite likely that under all this I'll look quite slender, which is weird. I've never thought of myself that way. They calculated that my ideal weight should be 62.5 kilograms, which I'll show in pounds here. Alan, my partner, who as you all know is really good with dowsing and muscle testing, he dowsed that without the abnormal fat I could be 58 kilograms, which is really light, way beyond anything I can possibly conceive of. But I'm just curious to see, because some of you guys may know that I actually have quite low muscle mass for my size because I had many, many years of chronic pain where I was unable to walk, which is the reason why I stacked all the weight on. So I haven't been able to exercise properly for many years. Even though now I'm out of pain, I still can't do much other than walking, a bit of swimming. Like I really, anything else I end up sore. It's a frustration for me, but it's just how it is. And so the forms of exercise I do are very gentle, like yoga and Feldenkrais and rolling around, so very flowy and dancing and stuff like that. It's all beautiful and keeps my body feeling really good, but it doesn't build muscle. So I don't have much muscle on me, which is why my weight for my height is lower than someone who has a lot of muscle, because muscle is very heavy. So take into account I have tiny wrists, tiny frame, very small amount of muscle on me. I really shouldn't weigh that much once the fat's gone, because it'll just be my bones, a tiny bit of muscle, and ligaments and fluid and stuff. You know, millions of bacteria that live in our gut that probably weigh lots. But anyway, whatever, you know what I mean. So anyway, I'm curious to do this round and find out what my actual natural weight is. And any of you out there, if you've done this, if you've done the final round, the vanity round, the completion round, and you got to that point, I'd love to hear from you and tell me, was the actual number that you turned out to be what you were expecting, or was it higher, or was it lower? Did you get a shock when you saw your real self underneath all that fat? What did it look like? Did it look like you thought it would? Was it a different shape? So I'm kind of curious. So like, let the HCG do the talking. I have no expectations. I don't know how much I'm going to lose. I don't know how much I'm going to retain. I don't know anything. I'm just in the hands of the HCG gods, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be exciting. The number one concern on my mind at the moment is my HCG going to arrive in time for when I'm wanting to start? I'm actually really wanting to do this round while my partner's away. Some of you know I've been writing on my fitness pal, oh, Alan went away, I'm all sad. He's had to go back to Hawaii for 5 weeks. So I'm here by myself, which is why this room is all white, because I've had a massive cleanup of my whole house. I've cleaned the whole kitchen. I went into such a frenzy of cleaning the day he left because I was so sad I didn't want to feel my feelings, so I thought I'd deflect my feelings into cleaning. I know it's deflecting, but at least it's useful deflecting. So I cleaned whole kitchen, reorganized it, decluttered it like a superhero organization. So I've had 3 or 4 days of manic cleaning. I'm quite tired right now, but the house is nice. So I feel like I've created this beautiful, calm space. He and I are usually talking a million miles an hour, so he's gone for a while, which means I'm in a quiet, non-talking space, other than vlogging and seeing friends and stuff. But like when I'm at home, I'm very calm. It's a really good time to do HCG, because as you guys know, the hormone makes you very calm. You really need to rest a lot. I want to go to bed early. When he's here, I want to stay up late and hang out with him, but he's gone for a few weeks, so I can just go to bed early, potter around, write my novel, see a few clients, you know, HCG. I get a lot of writing done. So I want to do it while he's away. So one of the other reasons why I really want to do this now, while Alan's away and I've got this time, is because my plan for this 5 weeks is to get a huge chunk of this novel that I'm writing written. Hopefully even the whole thing finished. But if I, you know, now that I've done my cleaning frenzy out of the way, I should start writing tomorrow and get into it. What I have noticed in the last month of writing is I have a terrible habit of eating while writing. It's like type, 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 eat, type, 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 eat, type, 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 eat, type, 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 eat. Like this. I just can't seem to type and think without eating. It's constant. And you know, I'm eating very low carb food because I really don't eat carbs anymore. So I'm snacking on nuts or a bit of cheese or, you know, protein drink or something. But still, it's a huge amount of calories, and it is starting to, my weight is starting to creep up just a tiny bit. It's still within a good range of my LIW, but I'm just noticing it, and I don't think it's a healthy habit. So I'm going to use these 3 weeks of HCG to break that habit, because as I spoke about in my first round, I personally think the biggest gift of HCG is that you are not hungry. For the whole course of your P2, you have a chance to see what your emotional eating habits are, because there's no hunger driving your eating. So if you have the urge to eat, then you've got to look at it, because it's not coming from hunger. So you might notice you eat when you're lonely, or eat when you're sad, or you eat when you watch TV. That was one of mine. And I've now discovered one. I eat when I write. I eat when I'm thinking, when I'm using my brain, when I'm really, really, really thinking. And so the great thing about P2 is you have a chance for at least 21 days, for some of you 40, for some of you 60, to break that habit. It only takes 21 days to break a habit. So for me, I'm going to do minimum 21 days of this round, maybe more, depends how much fat's left on me. And for that whole time, I will be learning how to write without eating, which to me seems inconceivable, because I physically can't do it at the moment. But I have no choice. I have to write this novel, and I'm going to do it on HCG. So I'm going to learn how to write and sip herbal tea, write and sip water, write and sip herbal tea, write and sip water. I might even learn how to just write and not eat or drink anything. But I think the interim stage will be writing while drinking. That'll at least keep me consuming while I'm typing. So that's another main reason why I really want to do it now. So I'm really hoping the HCG arrives in time so I can do it during this little quiet period when my partner's away and I'm writing, because I think it'll be a perfect time to do it. Problem is, because I'm in Australia, I have to wait for the HCG to get here, get through customs, which is always iffy, so I'm just fingers crossed, everything's crossed. I'm just assuming it's going to get here within the next week, because I really want to start not this Saturday, the following Saturday. So in Australia we call that Saturday week. It'll depend when Tom comes. I want to wait towards the end of Tom. If anyone's started loading during Tom, can you get in touch with me and tell me how that worked? Because I have this kind of theory that if I start loading while I've got my cramps and I'm feeling like chocolate, I may as well go with that and load while I've got cramps and while I'm feeling yuck. But if it's going to interfere with it, then I'm going to leave the loading till I'm completely finished Tom after all, 5 days of Tom are finished. So any thoughts anyone has on whether I should wait till the end of Tom completely, or maybe wait till the heavy days are finished and do it in the last couple of days of Tom, or do it while I'm feeling really sick at the beginning of Tom, or just leave the whole thing till after Tom? I value your opinion, so please let me know what you think. Guys, I've been talking for ages, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this vlog here, and I'm going to keep filming a second vlog, because I've got so much more I want to say, and I'll upload that later. Okay, bye for now. See ya.